Mr. Snuffleupagus. Aloysius Snuffleupagus, more commonly known as Mr. Snuffleupagus, Snuffleupagus or Snuffy for short, is one of the characters on Sesame Street, an educational television program for young children. He is a woolly mammoth-like creature, without tusks or ears, and has a long thick pointed tail, similar in shape to that of a dinosaur or other reptile. He has long thick brown hair and a trunk, or snuffle, that drags along the ground. He is Big Bird's best friend and has a baby sister named Alice. He also attends Snufflegarten. For many years, only Big Bird could see Snuffy, leading others to believe Snuffy was simply an imaginary friend, but in the 17th season Big Bird showed Snuffy to his friends on Sesame Street so they would believe him. Before that, the main adult characters teased Big Bird when he said he had seen him, because they did not believe there was such an animal, often despite evidence to the contrary. This was meant to echo the imaginary friends some young children have. Snuffy's fur in the earlier years was light brown as it is today, but not exactly the same shade. He also had yellow almond-shaped eyes with thin pupils and shorter eyelashes. This appearance was deemed frightening for younger children, so his eyes were made round and his personality friendly. By the late 1970s, the storylines had the adult characters becoming increasingly frustrated with Big Bird using Snuffy as a scapegoat whenever something went wrong while they were out of the room. In one episode, newspapers on Sesame Street carried the front page headline, "Snuffy's Got to Go." Some adults gradually began to believe Big Bird, the first being folk singer Buffy St. Marie, who sang Big Bird a song about her belief in Snuffy. After Buffy's departure from the show, Linda, Maria, and Gordon became believers in Snuffy's existence. This running gag ended with the season 17 premiere of Sesame Street episode 2096. Big Bird is sick of the grown-ups not believing him about Snuffy, so he decides to arrange for them to come to his nest and meet Snuffy when he yells the signaling word, food. He chooses this word because he knows the grown-ups will not believe him if he tells them his real reason for inviting them to his nest, and food is a more credible lure. When Big Bird calls out the word, Snuffy runs off to tell his mother about the meeting, so once again the grown-ups just miss him. Gordon, wanting to help, suggests to Big Bird that he needs someone to help him keep Snuffy in his nest, and Elmo offers to be the one. Snuffy returns, then tells Elmo he had better go home and brush his fur to prepare for the grown-ups arrival, but Elmo holds on to his snuffle so he cannot go. Big Bird yells, food, and one by one the adults come and see Snuffy for the first time ever. They are stunned, then cautiously approach, and Big Bird does an "I told you so" routine. Susan apologizes on behalf of the group for disbelieving Big Bird for so long. Bob then tells him, "From now on, we'll believe you whenever you tell us something." Linda then suggests that Big Bird introduce Snuffy to everyone one by one. Then popular talk show host Phil Donahue, appearing as himself on the episode, was also introduced to Snuffy. The entire Sesame Street cast henceforth sees Snuffy regularly on the show. In an interview on the show Still Gaming, Snuffy's performer, Martin P. Robinson, revealed that Snuffy was finally introduced to the main human cast mainly due to a string of high-profile and sometimes graphic stories of pedophilia and sexual abuse of children that aired on 60 Minutes. According to Carol Lynn Parente, the writers felt that by having the adults refuse to believe Big Bird, they were scaring children into thinking that their parents would not believe them if they had been abused and that they would just be better off remaining silent. On the same telethon, during Robinson's explanation, Loretta Long uttered the words Bronx Daycare, a reference to reports on New York TV station WNBC-TV of alleged sexual abuse at a Bronx daycare center. This was seen in the documentary Sesame Street Unpaved. According to sources such as the Sesame Workshop website and Sesame Street Unpaved, the character's name is spelled Snuffleupagus. Many licensors, closed captioners, and fans misspell the word. Even the Jim Henson Company website errs, spelling the character's name Snuffleupagus. The 1985 Warner Brothers movie Sesame Street Presents Follow That Bird depicts his name properly spelled on his mailbox. At the time he was still considered by others as Big Bird's imaginary friend. The fact that he was shown with his own real place, as well as him sending Big Bird a very real postcard, set up his revelation to the rest of Sesame Street later that year. Snuffy was first performed by Jerry Nelson, then Michael Earl, and currently Martin P. Robinson. His back end has been performed by Richard Hunt, Brian Meal, Frank Kane, and Bryant Young.